Welcome to Healing Our Relationships, the podcast. I'm Marisa, Insight Timer meditation teacher and transformation guide, and I've spent the last 18 years coming home to myself. Each week, journey with me as I guide you into deeper awareness, help you meet yourself with compassion, untangle painful relationship patterns, and heal the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. After the episode, head to healwithalchemy.com. Learn more about how to work with me one-on-one or in circle with other people who are walking this path. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the other side. Today, I have someone incredibly special with me on the podcast. He is not just a renowned Toltec Master of Transformation, not just a teacher or an author, but a dear friend to me and pretty much anyone he meets. Don José Ruiz has dedicated his life to translating ancient Toltec wisdom into practical teachings that bring more truth, more love, and more personal freedom to people in this world. And so, yes, he is an amazing author of books like The Fifth Agreement and My Good Friend the Rattlesnake. And he is the son of Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote The Four Agreements. But beyond all that, he is someone who embodies unconditional love. He truly walks through the world in a way that make people feel lit up when they see him. He truly is a mirror for the love I believe that we all innately deserve to feel and experience from ourselves and the world around us. And his humor and his humility and the way he loves really makes this work accessible. This conversation is unscripted, it's straight from the heart, no planned questions, and we're not trying to perform here. It's really just two friends sharing truth, laughing, exploring, and letting the moment guide us. And I'm so honored to share this space with him. I hope you feel the love, the inspiration, and the permission that José naturally awakens in everyone he meets to truly become the love of their own life, to truly see themselves as infinite. Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good. I'm excited. Thank you for being here with us.
I look forward to our conversation. I love your backgrounds. Everything's so beautiful behind you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is like the first gift that you gave me in Sedona.
I remember that day, that when I passed the obsidian, because it's what we really are, sister. We're the infinite.
Yeah.
The infinite doesn't think.
I always felt that as a kid, that I was infinite and something more. And I didn't understand who was deciding, why did I have to live this way, be this way?
Yes. And because at one point we begin depending on the work that transform our lives, thinking that we cannot be free without it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like sometimes that's what codependency feels like when your safety is contingent upon what's happening outside of you. And if you're being accepted or loved or affirmed, and you really become addicted to the dream, making you feel safe.
Yeah. It's like those people in the gym that take steroids to continue and they think that depend on a substance to work out, but it's just the body knows what to do, and it will release anything that it needs to continue.
Yeah. Speaking of that, speaking of steroids, I don't think that you were a steroid user, but what I was thinking of, I'd love to share, it's really interesting because sometimes I think, well, especially you, José, the first time I met you, and people say this anytime they meet you, they're so overwhelmed around the amount of real love that exudes from you, especially when you're holding space. I mean, the way that you will hug everyone and look at them, and I think people are drawn to because they seek that for themselves, to truly feel that much love and freedom. And at the same time, I think sometimes people can make an assumption that must have been born that way. José probably never feels fear or anxiety or struggle. And I know that your journey actually didn't begin that way, that you have had your own struggles and addictions and things. And so I'd love if you can share, because we have so many listeners that are in the recovery community. And I think sometimes there's this shame and guilt that comes when we have had struggle, and this fear that we'll get trapped in that. And you have such a beautiful story to share around that. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
When you destroy your dream with substances, with anger, with envy, with depression. When you destroy your dream and you wake from it and you know what it is, you begin seeing life differently because you know what made you destroy the dream. So it takes a lot of willpower. It takes willpower and self-love, because with willpower is the act of self-love. It's not that we just like want to open our hearts and do it. No, we get into the moment to go into the darkness, into the underworld, like my tradition says, and go to the most uncomfortable places, not to rescue ourselves, but to see the truth of what we're doing, to admit it, to not have that personal importance, that ego, that mask, because it's the mask and the belief system that get us there. So one day, I was blind. I couldn't see. And I surrendered to it after I was blind for like 2 weeks or something like that. But when I came back and I got my eyesight, I look into people's eyes. I hug them. I love them, because one point that was taken away from me. Also in relationships, being a drug addict, recovered, then being in an abusive relationship, jumping into another abusive relationship. I was like totally in pain. And sometimes I wasn't ready to be in a relationship, but there I was. And when I did that, I attracted people who also live in suffering. And in the name of love, we did that. And then we pretended to ourselves that we were not living that way. So past 5 years, I've been completely alone and single. And in that moment, it helped me to be with myself. Mm-hmm. Now I'm in a relationship. I just got into a relationship and it's so beautiful. But in that new relationship, I know the things that didn't work before, how I ruined it, how I destroyed it, how I had conditions, how I had expectations, how I was trying to domesticate and be domesticated. It wasn't true love. It was conditional love. And the same thing happens when I went to become addict. I was just born and I was always a happy child. I was like always in bliss, I was always smiling. And when I was 10 years old, I encountered a ceremony of a shamanic ceremony where it was mostly a ceremony of the addiction of suffering. Yeah, they did the ceremonies, they did the drumming, they did the smudging, they did all of the chants. But when it was time to talk, everybody shared their victimization. And when they began sharing one another, it looked like they were competing their victimization. And for me, that was what it meant to be a grown-up, that I needed to be that. So I felt like I was wrong. So I needed drama, I needed pain in my life. So I began looking for it until I hit a point that I sat in the devil's couch and I forgot where I was. And in the devil's couch is where I introduced to alcohol. I got introduced to drugs because in the neighborhood where I grew up, it was full of drug addiction, corruption, gangs, and all that stuff. So if you were not a bully, you get bullied. So you always have to prove yourself. And in that moment, it was also the dream of fake machismo. So in little words, one hell became another hell, one hell became another hell. And yes, there were good moments, don't get me wrong. There were awesome moments. There were beautiful, happy moments. But it came a moment that the scale was like this, and it began turning. And then that dream became hell. Why? Because I was hurting my body. I was hurting my mind. And then with that, you become irritated. To know what love is, you have to know what love is not. Know what being sober it is, you have to know what sober is not. Many people do not understand us drug addicts and what we went through. They just read something and they think what it is. But at the same time, I find myself now praying to the God of being afraid to relapse. I was afraid of leaving. I was afraid. And the same thing I noticed that I was doing in shamanism. I was hiding behind the character Don Jose, thinking that was the third attention. But it was the second attention, because I was holding on to what transformed my life. And I see many people doing that, becoming cults. And it's because they're offering what they change, not knowing that other people have a different point of view. And then they become competing with each other. And then they get vulnerable. If one is not walking the path of others, they're wrong. They have to prove them right so I can be right. The thing is that this world is just insane. It's addicted to suffering. And at the same time, when you begin waking up from that point on, you said, oh my God, because I know that I was insane and I was addicted to suffering too. So in that moment, we begin living in my tradition. We begin talking about living your life like it's the last day of your life. Now a recovered heart, a recovered dreamer. And we know to enjoy every day like it's our last day. So in doing that, we know what we will tolerate and not tolerate. But there is no point to hide under the sanctuary anymore. And that is the point that we did all the work in the first place, to be free again.
A few things that you said that are just really powerful and insightful. The addiction that you talk about to suffering. I remember when I was really new in sobriety, I was, 23 when I got sober, and I was in an AA meeting, and I was sharing, and I remember I was so inspired by my sobriety. I was probably in like 65, 70 days. And I never thought I would feel that. I thought I was just going to take a break because I wanted to be a musician and move to Portland and do rock and roll. I'm young, but I was starting to get really fired up about what sobriety was giving me, which was this level of clarity and this connection to myself that I hadn't really felt before. And I remember I was sharing, and I remember after I shared, he literally said, go back out and drink again. You have no idea what it means to suffer. And thank goddess, I was like, well, no, I absolutely know what it means to suffer, because most of my suffering was in the mind, in the spirit. I didn't have to get 5 DUIs and lose a child and all the things that maybe him at like 60 had to do. But I remember when that happened, I was just thinking about how people really avoid hitting a bottom or getting help or doing things because they think they haven't suffered enough. And it's almost like they feel like they have to suffer more. Oh, I haven't lost this yet, or I'm not too depressed, or I don't hate myself enough, or this isn't that bad. And that comparison. And so when you said that, yeah, it's like the suffering is a story that I know I did become addicted to and carried. I didn't even know I was carrying it until you and your family were teaching me about that concept of carrying my story into every present and future interaction. And it wasn't giving myself an opportunity to transform or be something else.
Yeah, something happens with fear, with fear becomes something that we have hold on to something, thinking that that's going to liberate us and be free. And we give more power to the story, whatever, than actually being free. Because being free, being sober, not numbing anymore, you begin feeling your emotions. It's like being in an abusive relationship, but the abuse is the abuseness we do to ourselves, because we don't let the body feel. And when we begin living the body feel, it's because we go beyond that fear. And when you see people projecting, like say the person saying, have a drink, in a sobriety, it's because he's having a drink. And he wants to feel okay for everybody to do the same thing. So he feels okay. But at one point, we all know what our poison is. Like I said before, when you hit bottom or you make your life a nightmare and you come out of it, it's the will against temptation until there's no temptation, and it becomes a lifestyle. And many people just think a diet is a diet. But when you change your eating ways, it is just a lifestyle that you change because you detach from something. So in the Toltec tradition, the biggest thing is to detach. And many people still attaching because to detach is from doing things that go against you. Even the name Don José Ruiz, I detached from it.
Yeah.
And I know that it was just a medicine to get me where I am. Like when I was young, before I got sexually abused, before I got into that point, I used to be this David Bowie. I used to like dress up, glam, and I used to be like that. But when I begin feeling the shame, when I begin feeling, dirty, and when I felt like I begin killing myself little by little, and these few years, and I left the Don Jose character, what I believe is what a shaman is, that character that I was hiding behind and I wasn't even aware of. I was giving to everybody except to myself. Yeah. And the moment I get that epiphany, I begin going into fashion. I say myself, I'm the Ziggy Stardust of spirituality. It's because I don't know when it's going to be the last time of my life. And everything that I worked so hard for is to live in personal freedom, not to lock myself in a temple, not to buy land so everybody can come. And then when I die, they build a statue for me. Like, what's the point in that? That's just the ego, the wounded heart trying to believe something to know that I'm right. But it comes a moment where you're free from addictions, from substances, from relationships, and from stories, that you begin being responsible for what's in your table. And I know that you feel this because we work for the same boss, and other people feel the same way after we work for ourselves. We just want to enjoy our soup in peace the rest of our life. We just want to live in peace. We can identify what heartbreak, we can identify drama, we can identify toxicity, we can identify codependency, we can identify everything because we've been there. And we free ourselves from that. So it comes a moment where we celebrate life, like the Day of the Dead is coming this weekend. For me, the Day of the Dead is to celebrate my returning back to life, that I'm not dead anymore. And one day I honor my ancestors, because that's what we do in the Day of the Dead. We honor ancestors, but we honor them by living our life to the fullest. Because like the saying, we walk like there's 300 ancestors behind us. How are we treating them inside? And it's because that's how we're treating ourselves. So when we respect them, we respect ourselves. And we cannot respect them until we respect ourselves. And this is, again, the willpower. And, and when people relapse, don't beat yourself up. Just know, get a new lesson, and you can do it again because you've done it before. Sometimes the weather brings us pain, unbearable pain. But this is where we open our medicine bag, all the healing things. This is when we use the tools. And no one needs to know, but we know. And then by living this way, we never know who we're going to interact that will need this medicine. And living this way also, we will get new medicine because we're not afraid to learn from anybody anymore. Many people get the obsession that they know everything, but we don't.
Been lucky enough to have some really great one-on-one conversations with you, and we've been on retreat when I've been on retreat with you. And I remember when I first got sober, there was this, at the time I wouldn't call it this, but this addiction to being like the best sober person. And then stepping into the spiritual world, and especially after I read the Four Agreements, I was so awakened and connected to that awareness that for a little bit of time, I really thought I could just stay there. Oh, I'm going to bypass the human experience and never take anything personally. I'm always going to be in this, I'm always going to do my best. And it was just genuine feeling that I will be free from this. And then time and time again, life happened. And I would find myself thrusted into the underworld, trying to hang on to this spirituality or this shamanism or the Toltec path, sobriety. I'd be trying to hang on to all these things. And I just remember we were in Joshua Tree and we were sitting outside, and it was a starry night and it was really late. And it was my first time I really got to talk with you. And I just remember kind of sharing that with you. Like, when's it going to stop? You were like, it's not going to stop. Sister is not going to stop. And that's not the point. And you've always been this beautiful teacher and witness to me to stay present with my humanity and to not use spirituality as a way to spiritually bypass and become inauthentic, become some type of cloned version of me that's now the spiritual one or the healer. That's the one thing I love about the teachings of your family. And I would say your dad and your brother is that you all have made it very clear that we are all working for the same boss. And there hasn't been that follow me. This is the way you're teaching. Stay in your authenticity. This is what I'm sharing with you, but take it and share your own experience with it. And with spiritual teachers, we see so much of that. You become caricature of what you think people want to see from you. And then you lose the authenticity and the humanity because you're not perfect. And it's easy for someone to go, oh, they must have it all together. It's just dangerous.
And it's interesting because, many people, when they ask to enter the world of shamanism, sometimes, like I didn't know when I said to my grandmother, I want to walk the Toltec path. I was probably like 10 years old, 11 years old. I felt it, but I didn't know what I was asking for. Mm-hmm. And they saw me. So when you were saying about when is it going to end, it doesn't end, because when we begin doing this journey, we go to the underworld, lose ourselves to find ourselves. And we go there again and again and again. Now, at this point of our life, with this awareness, we go through all that underworld, that emotion, heartbreaks, whatever it is. But now we have the awareness that we can go and get out. And every time that we get out of it, what do we have? Medicine. We come up for medicine, and we share that medicine, how we heal ourselves. And this is the important thing about when we share our experiences, is because that's all we know. And we can talk about our experiences. So in a hospital, there are like a lot of different kind of doctors. Specialists on the brain, specialists on the heart, specialists on the bones. They're all different kinds of doctors. And the same thing with shamanism. There's so many different ways of the shamans that they're healers. And like my medicine, my doctrine is the infinite, is to remember myself and to remind everybody that they're more than the word. They're more than the thinking mind. They're this energy that's moving this physical body, that you can create anything, that you can heal yourself and not poison your own self with your own words. And then we all have different parts that we overcome. Like my grandfather was an undertaker. His son was a musician, military. My grandmother was a curandera. My dad was a medical doctor, and I was a junkie. And I say it openly because I don't judge myself. I'm not ashamed of my past. Many people say you're so burnable, but I don't see it like that. I just am not ashamed of my past. It happened. It was real. It's what made me. And if I'm not ashamed of my past, it's because I have nothing to hide. My life is a broken book. And when my life is an open book, I live in my truth. But now I can be aware of when those little things start to come up. And sometimes, sister, this little judge begins talking, trying to manipulate me, trying to play guilt. And I look at it like if it was a stranger saying, look at how cute. You're trying to seduce me. You're trying to manipulate it. How cute you are. It's like when you are not attracted to somebody and they're trying to seduce you, they're trying to, but you're not there, you're not feeling it. So you can say no to that. So why can't we say no to that thing that comes in our heads? And this is when we go to the underworld, because the underworld is not necessary when we lose a relationship, when we lose a human, when we lose a job. No, the underworld is every thought that comes in our way that will take us out of our center. And when we realize that we are the infinite, then we can heal ourselves from addiction, because we're done in that world. And we know the price that it takes. So one of the important things is to ask for help when we need it. Ask for reflection. Ask to talk to somebody who doesn't judge you, who has been there. For me, it's very important when I was in that world, to talk to somebody who's been there, because I could feel their body going through what my body went through too. And it gave me a lot of faith, not hope, faith, to trust myself again, so my body can trust me again. And it's a big magical thing when your physical body can trust your mind.
It is, because like what you were saying about shame, I mean, shame is one of the lower vibrational energies that live in our bodies. When we are triggered or activated, especially inside of relationship, when the mind, when the voice of lies, I thought that voice was my voice. For so long, I was like, why do I talk to myself like this? Why do I hate myself so much? Why am I so afraid of this person leaving me? Why is it my voice? And then when I started studying the Toltec wisdom, I realized, oh, that voice really isn't mine. It is a created voice from my experience, from my fear. It is an agreement I made with somebody else about who I was. And I never even thought to check in with it. If you have a voice inside of your head and it's really, really painful, that's good, because that means there's a part of you that doesn't agree, right? Because if you actually agreed with that, then it wouldn't even bother you. But if it's breaking your heart, that is good. That means that your spirit and your soul and the authentic part of you is aching, and to be seen and to be out there. But that journey of becoming safe and feeling safe in the body, because that's what's so wild about trauma, is that having like a full-on fight or fright response when you know you're not going to die, just because somebody didn't text you back, these small things where they're not small to the body because they represent this bigger story of not being good enough or not being loved. And so it's a very dynamic experience when we are healing the mind, and then we also heal the body, and to remind it that it's safe.
Yes. And it's all about awareness. The first rule is that we cannot control the outside. We cannot control how people react. We cannot lose our awareness for what other people react. We just see them as they are. The other thing is just to see ourselves. And when we begin to see ourselves, we begin controlling our emotions. We begin controlling our action reaction. We begin trying to feel safe, controlling others, because there is no control. There is no controlling this outside dream. The only thing we can control is our own emotions, our own point of view, our own stories. And sometimes, dreams die. And we want to stay in a dead dream. And it's not for us anymore. So many people do not know how to love. They know how to possess. And that's when the manipulation comes into place. If you love me really, you will sacrifice to what I fear, to what I do. And little by little, the relationship ends because it's now eggshells. It's one of the things when my second marriage ended, because we both were not happy. And that moment, it was different than my first marriage, because my first marriage was abusive. This marriage wasn't. And it was beautiful for me to see the one that I love. Okay, you're done. Be free. You still have life. And it's not about me. And even I could see the old character of me wanting back to be back in an island of safety. But I wasn't happy anymore. And many times we try to convince ourselves when we're not happy. And it comes a moment when we say, do we let love grow, or we choke on love and take our breath away and not breathe anymore? And time goes so quickly that when you really love the outside dream, you let them be what they are. Some people are just like cats. They come when they want to come. And some people are like puppies. They're there all the time. So you'll accept a cat for being a cat, or you want to change a cat to be a dog. You know there's going to be suffering in that relationship, because it's about control, not about unconditional love. And when we begin trying to control ourselves to be in a dream that we're not supposed to be in it, and convince ourselves, of course there's going to be suffering. And of course we're going to trap ourselves. And that's why I realized in my path that I'm the love of my life. I'm a certain way. When I try to change for others, they will not have this Jose that is here. I would change. I'll be unhappy. I'll be fussy, fighting, because it's something in me is not happy with myself. And then people will begin walking in eggshells around me. And then I will react, why are you walking on eggshells around me? But it comes a moment where you don't want to control the outside dream, because you just surrender to what life is.
Why do you think we can fall in love with what we see in the beginning, and then there's this attachment that happens? And then when the truth of ourselves begins to unfold, and when someone's lived in our space and realizes we're messy or we're clean or we're not a cat or a dog, suddenly there's this inclination, like you said, to domesticate one another. And it's such a fine line between making requests and having balance, but also there's so much fear in this world of moving on. There's fear of, what if I don't find anyone else? What if I regret this? What if? What do you think from that more spiritual soul level? What do you think keeps people attached and just fighting so hard to change someone or even change themselves, and that they're so unhappy or they're uncomfortable, but still they're afraid to leave or afraid to find themselves or be alone?
It's very simple. It's very, very simple. It's just conditional love. And all the phases of it. It's all just conditional love. It's loving with conditions. Because when you really love somebody and you're moving with it, that person is your main point, because you're building something together. The all things that make us comfortable and we want to bring and control it doesn't exist anymore, because there's two people that become one item. And many people are fearful that, I'm going to lose myself, I'm going to lose that. But when you really love, when you really feel that love and respect, especially at our age, where we have tasted what it is, what's been destroyed, like I said earlier, how we sabotage love because we try to control it. Comes a point when we really love unconditionally, when you fall in love with a person and you just love them the way they are. You don't see flaws. Mm-hmm. You don't see imperfection. You see just the way they are, and you love them for that. And at the same time, when you begin living that dream, you begin being grateful to just share space with one another. But the most important thing to do is to talk to one another, to be open, to not be afraid, to not suppress, to live with an open book. But it's conditional love that make a relationship hell. It's conditional love. Because when you truly love somebody, you're just grateful to just share space with them in the good times or in the bad times. When they're sad, when you're sad, we help one another. When we're a little upset, we hold space. We don't try to fix them. We're just there until the thing bursts out of our tears because something in life was painful. That we hold space. And many times people get into a relationship with a fantasy of what it's supposed to be. When they get there, it's not it. So they go cheating on the spouse because they're still chasing that false illusion. Because it gets domesticated of what they think love is, with movies, with the parents, with the uncles. Some people get into the relationship and say love comes later. You stick with it, and just imagine in the religious, they make us marry and be walking a certain way for what other people might think, what society might think, People stay married for 30 years just because the church or because the job people or the society, they will lose their place in it. So they pretend to be happy when they're not. And that's something when you're in a relationship with somebody that you love. The honest thing is when you're happy, you let love grow. Thing is that we fear being alone because we're not loving ourselves. But when we love ourselves and we separate, at least we had that experience. You know what I mean? When you love somebody and the relationship ends, instead of hurting ourselves like that or trying to keep it in a bird cage, we're happy that we had that experience. And what we learn in conditional love is to fall in love and put a person in a bird cage when the bird is supposed to fly freely.
It really does all come back to the relationship to self. When I started my codependency journey, it was like the addiction to somebody loving me and seeing me and affirming me. And I didn't even realize how disconnected I was from my own self, that I lost all sense of my own confidence and my own love. I'm not mad at that girl. Like, she was doing the best she can with what she had. But when I started healing the patterns, when I started looking within instead of, why won't you give me this? And then asking, what do I need? And what can I give myself? Instead of trying to make somebody feel something about me, I started to do my own stuff, be in my own creativity, focus on what I love. It was very scary because of that attachment and that addiction. A lot of the women that come to work with me inside of codependency work, when they're in a relationship, like you said, that's filled with conditional love and suffering, they can get really angry at themselves that they don't just like get out of it. Why don't I just leave? And I had a therapist tell me, you've spent, 30 something years living with this lack of love and respect, appreciation for yourself. And it's not in the mind. It's like an embodied thing to feel safety, to feel secure, going, it's okay if we have to sell the house. It's okay if we have to do this. Like, it's okay. All the crap and grief that's going to come after it, I can hold it. She's like, you can't just learn that. You're unlearning 30 years of being in an abusive relationship with yourself. It takes every moment by moment showing up really an unconditional love for ourselves, like loving ourselves when we're afraid, loving ourselves when we're anxious, loving ourselves when we're in the underworld by choice or not. It's being with ourselves in every moment. And it's like a muscle. And I think that it grows and it gets easier. Like, every time I get thrusted into the underworld, I know now I'm going to come out. Whereas before I thought I'd get stuck. And I remember you told me in Teo, I was like crying on the steps and we were looking out at the island of safety. And I told you, I said, I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck. And you were like, you will not get stuck, but you have to surrender.
Yes.
This is the life of the wounded healer, the shaman. It's the one that heals themselves and the one that goes down, goes under, gets the medicine, comes back. It's never going to be, at least I know for me, I'm committed to never letting it be over. Like, this is what we're doing.
And the important thing to remember is that we don't control the weather. Sometimes it rains, but when it rains, it's going to stop raining. Life is all about that. The thing is what we do when that's happening. And the moment that we love ourselves unconditionally, we're not responsible for what other people might think or say. And it's about strong will again. It's really about strong will. It is about us not being the victim or the victim categorizing that's who we are. It's about the victim having the courage to no longer stay there because you respect yourself so much and love yourself so much that you're not going to tolerate that. So when you have the strong willpower, something in us shifted, and it's called the respect. And in the Toltec tradition, respect is the most powerful tool there is in everything. Respecting ourselves from our own dreaming mind, respecting ourselves from the abuse or insults of other people. And we find this platform that we put ourselves in, but it's not really putting ourselves in because, like I said earlier, I'm from the infinite and I am an energy that is aware of what I am. And this physical body is not the chit chat. It's the Mother Earth. So many people talk about serving Divine Mother, and they're still talking in the chit chat, like in a relationship. What should we do instead of just loving who is in front of you and yourself, and especially Divine Mother? There comes a moment where we pass all of that human conditions, because you cannot change those human conditions, because people believe that. People live life like, like if they watch the show Sex and the City, so all relationships are based on Sex in the City, or Hamlet, or Romeo and Juliet, they're not. Many people get domesticated. That's what a relationship should be, and they put all these rules that they forget the true essence of love. We fall in love all the time. It's not sexually. It's not like romantically. It's that we are in love. We're in love beings, and when you feel that love, you feel the connection of spirit to spirit. But what happens when spirit to spirit begins happening? Like I've gotten this, and I have to say no. People think they're my twin flame. They're like my twin, and I go, I'm not that. You see what you want to see, but what you're really seeing is yourself. You don't need to be with somebody and project on that somebody to be the love of your life. Because when you are true love, you attract true love, but it's not about changing. It's about co-living with somebody, a beautiful dream. And those people have the freedom to come and go, to make their own choices. And when we respect ourselves, we say, that was a beautiful moment. It happened. We're experiencing it. And we'll continue experiencing things. But the most beautiful thing in all of this, we're respecting Divine Mother. Because no matter if you're male or female, I went deep into these 5 years. I went deep into the Shiva Shakti to spirit shamanic training. I embraced both energies. But I know that I'm just an energy. But I embrace both of them. And they taught me a lot. They taught me a balance of this conditional world. Because behind all of that balance is beauty. And when you let that beauty come out, that's what we truly are. Like the earth has all these flower fields, has these oceans, these mountains, these jungles, these deserts. It's full of beauty. And that's what we are. And then we justify what beauty it is and put conditions of what beauty it is. And then we judge ourselves. We're not beautiful enough. The moment that I started wearing makeup, some people got close to me, some people didn't. And with my band members, the Toltec Christians, I put on makeup. They didn't say anything. They were just like, I'm just Jose. I'm just a person that they love. And one of the funny things about this, when I'm joking now, this is a joke. One of the funny experiences that I have is like when I'm in the men's bathroom, and another man comes inside, and they open their eyes and they walk out, and they walk in and walk out and walk in, and they go, no, you're in the right one. But life is funny because there's a lot of rules of what man or woman should be.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, it's beauty. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, embrace it. Embrace the two energies of what you are, what you feel like, and how you want to express yourself. My friend Kara, when I went to India, and she gave me this gift, this quote. She said, always remember that you're Divine Mother. And how would Divine Mother express herself today? And when I heard that, sister, is when I really embraced what I am and what I was when I was a teenager, before I got, sexually abused and felt that guilt and shame and started hurting myself. I started coming back to who I was. And that's when I left the character Don Jose, because I've been projected Swami, I've been projected Guru, I've been projected Shaman and all those things. But at the end of the day, I was a kid from a bad neighborhood that got into drug addiction. Now coming back of it, of course, I will always have those gifts because that's what I train. But the main lesson of all this training that I have is that I'm the love of my life. And like you say, when you're the love of your life, you begin changing your habits that go against you, because at the end of the day, we serve Divine Mother because she's our boss. And when we talk, it's not ourselves talking, it's she coming through us.
I was there in Teo when you said, like, I'm not Jose the shaman. And when you really said out loud, I am stepping into the Jose I've always wanted to be. And as I've been watching you on social media in the clothes that you want to wear and in the makeup, I was like, gosh, Jose is so beautiful. But it wasn't the makeup. It was the freedom of your authenticity that was coming through your eyes and your smile. And it was the beauty that comes when we stop performing and shoving ourselves down or just trying to make ourselves palatable for other people. And it really takes a lot of courage, I would say, for anybody. I don't want to compare, but also for someone who is in the spotlight, or that what people will project a lot on or have a lot of opinions on or have known you for a long time. that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here, is because I would love everybody to follow your journey on the internet and Instagram and see you when you come do Toltec Visions in their town, because you embody that courage. And I know that doesn't mean it's easy for you all the time, or that you maybe never have fear and self-doubt in it, but you are teaching through how you live, how to be in your authenticity. And I've been hearing that message more from you around, like, what if this was my last day? What if this was my last day? And that doesn't always mean you have to go and like quit your life and run out the house and get on a plane. But there's also small things we can do every day, like wear something that say something, or put something in the world, or create something. And so I just want you to know that, like, I've seen that from you, and it's been so inspiring and a beautiful reminder that our authentic self too is always changing. Because I don't think that Jose the shaman was necessarily inauthentic, right? To me, you were very authentically who you were at that time. And like, we're always changing. And that freedom to be the artist of your own life that the Toltec teaches, that we have power to create our dream. We have the power to shift our perception. We have the power to unlearn. We have all that ability if we can have the courage to be a little uncomfortable too, right?
Yes.
In the beginning, because it can be hard. It can be hard.
The thing is that will make it hard is to stand and not do what we feel like doing. And then it becomes bigger and louder. But at one point when you just begin acknowledging fear, you're not fearing, you're respecting it. Fear is an energy that needs to be respected, because it's what is going to help us change and transform. One day I was like, I don't know if you see me, all of a sudden I started posting myself playing the guitar. And it's because I started judging myself playing in life in front of like people, because it has to be perfect, it has to learn certain things. But then I said, I if I don't judge myself, who's going to judge me? So what do? Let me just go and share this to the world in the computer. There, I did it. Nothing happened. It was just in my head. And the point I'm saying about this is that sometimes we make our fears bigger than what they really are, because when we overcome them, life continues on happening. It's something, and it comes a moment when we change, but we are shapeshifters. Like, I'm a shapeshifter. If I'm talking to somebody who knows that Don José Ruiz, I talk through that Don José Ruiz, because that's me too. I'm all of them. One of the things that I love about just opening myself up and being this open flower is that sometimes I get free coffee. Just because I go to a place and they say, you have the kindest energy, you have the things, but that's it. I'm respectful and kind.
Yeah.
It's no special power. It's no special shamanic power, or, it's just being kind. And that kindness is beautiful. And everybody has a good heart. They don't have to learn all the ceremonies. They don't have to learn all the paths. They don't need to learn all the agreements. They just need to learn how to be kind to themselves, and then they'll take it from there. And that's when I started changing my delivery also from the Chiva Shakti, from the two-spirit energy, because it is mother and father together taking care of the child. And it's about kindness and tolerance. And no matter who it is in this world, they're possessed. It's nothing personal. They're possessed by knowledge. They're drunk with knowledge. And when we're kind to ourselves, we can purify that knowledge. We can purify and translate from the heart. Because that's our language from the infinite. But it comes a moment in our life when we know that we all are one.
Thank you so much for being here. Please head to healwithalchemy.com to learn more about me and my offerings. Through one-on-one work, group cohorts, and worldwide retreats, I have so much to offer you. You can download my free meditation app, HealSpace, and access our monthly live Healing Our Relationships meeting on Zoom on the last Thursday of the month. You can also find me on Insight Timer for free meditations, live events, and so much more. Thank you for your support, and please take some time to rate and review, and email me anytime to introduce yourself. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the other side.